Good evening. Happy Wednesday. We're back. Of course, we're back. You see me early this morning. Now I'm here. You're here. We're here. We're doing this all together. Like, share, and subscribe. I hope I selected the right stream. I'm going to just double check over here before to make sure I did. And then we're going to start. Where are my comments here? Make sure we're on. Yes, we got it. We are rolling. Okay, guys. Wednesday. One Love Wednesdays with Johnny T. Hey, enough of this. You're watching the Feathers Elite Racing Pigeon Network. We're going to start the show in three, two, and one. Guys, enjoy it. We haven't been on in a while. Alrighty, we are back on the Wednesdays. We're in Canada and we're in beautiful San Diego. Guys, you know me. I'm Ryan from Feathers Elite, and you know this guy to the right. Well, if you don't know him, you should know him. He's probably the most famous American loft manager in all of the United States. He is the GOAT, the greatest of all time. Year after year after year, he gets those results on the hardest course, and the birds always do great. Finish with a bang. The one, the only, Johnny T. John Timmerman. 3 weeks, man. We've been 3 weeks without each other. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, bud. I've been in hibernation. It's
Yeah,
been all good. It's all
you're
good.
getting darker and darker. It must be either the fires are getting closer or it's getting hotter there. Is it the birds or is it the heat? What's going on?
Nah, dude, I made some friends with the South Africans and, taking their advice and getting a little darker.
Yeah, yeah, you're getting quite a bit of darker. All right, the last time we talked, you had to travel. You were going to the Texas Center a convention that they do every year in Texas. And how was it? Tell me a bit about it. I'm sure the people want to know. And guys, if you are watching, please participate. Post your questions, post your comments. UK Birdman from England says hello. Micah Peebler says hello. Come on, guys, get on. You wanted it because we wanted it. Participation. So tell me, Texas Center. Tell me all about it, Johnny.
Well, the Texas Center, Flying D, Paul Daniels was the handler, was the coordinator, he and his wife. They did a great job. He did a great job getting the birds to the race. But weather that time of year, 3 weeks ago, it was brutal. I mean, 70-80% humidity with highs in the 90s plus. It was difficult. Very, yeah. We knew this going into it. The Texas Center has been doing this as a tradition. I don't know, for 25 years plus. And this was actually the first year that Paul Daniels, decided to help out and run it. And on his end, he did a great job. He had a good number of birds go to the race, but weather it's very difficult to race pigeons when you're flying with those conditions. We did have, scattered pigeons come in on the day. There's 2 races. But overall, it was tough. But other than that, we all had a great time there. I mean, I was there just for a few days, and Paul does it. Paul always tries to outdo himself, just hosting an event, and he's learned that just coming to San Diego, watching us, and he just tries to really improve. He's been in it now 10 plus years himself, and he's seeing these kind of results. He sees that it's brutal. I mean, when I say brutal, just on your own ego. Um, but I think overall it was a success, and it was, like I said, it was a good time. It was a good time for the sport, for those that were there, and a lot of old timers. And that's, to me, is, you're there to learn something and see somebody, and see, see people that you can learn from. And myself, even with the years that been involved, I always have my ears open, and there's always something that I pick up on. A few other one loft races were there as well. Chad Ward, Lelton from Dash for Cash. And those individuals, yeah, we were all in it. We're all sweating, and all in it for the grind, and it was good. It was good.
So in the race, so what was it? Just a one guy racing, or was it multiple lofts, or how was it?
No, this year they decided, well, the last few years, because the numbers have been down, they've decided to do one loft racing.
Okay.
And so in this situation, Paul coordinated with an A race and a B race, and both had a different value. And
Okay.
they were both housed under the same loft.
Mhm.
And of course, on race day, there was a little bit of hiccup because, and people that probably watched it, the times with the clocking were a little different. And yeah, that was something that wasn't foreseen,
Mhm.
because you only had one clock for both the races, and now you're splitting up the days. So it became a little challenging for the race crew.
Oh, how far was the race, and how many birds participated?
It was, I think he had, I mean, she did a fantastic job. He started out with, I believe, 500 pigeons, and he had like 450 ready to go. And so it was like 225 in each race, or 220 in each race.
Mhm.
And, pigeons looked good, they handled good. And that's, you're there for the gathering, you're there to support a tradition, and whatever the rate. I mean, that's always been my attitude when I go there to Texas anyways. I mean, mind you, I do love the racing, but I also love the people that I've got to meet over the years. And in the end, to me, that's what it's all about. And when somebody puts on the event, kudos to them, because the time frame of receiving pigeons from February, March, April, and he's racing in July, it's short. Um, race was 175 miles, but again, with the conditions, it was tough. I mean, I believe they were liberated at, I believe, 6:45, I believe it was, and the first birds are in at, like, the first race, 10:20, 10:30 was the first bird, and it wasn't. I mean, it was really spread out throughout the day. The first race, which was a Thursday, turned out to be a little better with the returns on the day. And we thought for sure the second race, which was actually the higher dollar race, was going to be better. The pigeons looked better,
Mhm.
and it just turned out to be more difficult. So he
Mhm.
had he had trackers on the birds. Birds, for whatever reason, went. I believe they went 75, 80 miles north of where they were supposed to be on the line, and some of that was the winds as well. So, I mean, you're asking a lot from pigeons that are 3, 4 months old, especially a flock. And then, not to mention, you're racing 450 pigeons, and then now all of a sudden you split them up, 200 one day and 200 the next day. So, there's a lot of theories, where the followers, dismantled. There's a lot of things that, you need to consider. Birds weren't used to that.
Well,
Um,
John. Remember doing that. I always say, I look at you, and I watch some of the things that you've done through the years, and you've told me, and I see it even in some of your older videos, letting birds out in small groups, I call it putting the extra effort in, educating them all, and I don't really know. I was at the Texas Center one time, and again, it was a disaster. It was hot. It was brutal. Maybe they make the race too far. I don't know. There's to me, it's. It's either they're not ready for it or they can't handle it. I don't know what it is, but I don't know. Does that help the sport? Do you think? Does it hurt the sport? I know it's for the gathering, but I say when you're taking it on as the guy, either the loft manager or the loft woman, whoever's doing it, you gotta really, you gotta turn over as many stones I think as possible because you
Well,
don't.
I mean,
It's hard.
to Paul's defense, absolutely. I mean, he did his best. You got to remember that there was also some funny wet weather leading up to the race. So there's things that if you were racing in your backyard, the way you would train, I mean, face it, young pigeons, you cannot stop. I mean, you cannot stop, especially when it's short distance. You cannot stop until the day before the race. And that, to him, that was by no means was did Paul have anything wrong with what he
Mm.
did? It's just he was, there was just some bad days leading into the main event that restricted him from continuing on with his training program, or vice versa, a week before or 2 weeks before. So whatever opportunity there was to train, he was on it. But sometimes, we're going to find that. I mean, I actually made that statement that I think the rest of us that are doing one loft races are going to find that out, especially when you fly on certain dates. I mean, I've been there, I've seen it, I've been there many, many times. And, I mean, the difference is I still have hair. I turned white, Paul Daniels turned bald. I mean, that's how it works. You stress, and until you actually run it and you try to stick to the program, you don't know. All you can do is your best. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Hey, I know. Here's another question. In Texas, when do they do their combine racing? What time of year normally is it?
I believe talking with Bobby Brown, it was and Butch Shoop, I think, and here in another month they'll start. So those guys, they're getting ready to train, if not training already. Um, so I'm pretty sure, late August, September, it's cooling down a little bit, but they're still training or trying to train with the heat. I
Right.
mean, I could go back 35, 40 years ago where there actually was a race called the Dash for Cash. And I remember that, I'm talking when I was in my early 20s, and they had the truck race, and it's pretty much band races, and they were brutal because they raced the pigeons during, you know when Mother Nature is most fierce.
Yeah, the hottest time, and I was gonna say, I'm wondering, like, just a little, just to help themselves out a little bit. Would it not make just a little bit more sense, bring it, pushing the race back a bit to get them into just
Well,
a
that's
little
again,
easier temperatures?
that's up to the committee to decide. I actually talked to Kenny Kelly, who is also just a phenomenal pigeon man. Um, he said back in the day they used to fly this race at a 300. So, I
And
mean,
and,
they
and
did.
and and they were getting birds?
I don't know what kind of returns. I know CL Gage had the race one year, and it was brutal. To what extent he got pigeons back, I don't know, but I heard that it was difficult. So, you know, um, we're all pigeon guys. We all know what to expect. I mean, you're right. I mean, shit. Sometimes maybe we're better off just flying rollers on that day. I don't know, um, because yeah, it's a lot of work on the guys training them, a lot of effort by the breeder sending birds, and there's no doubt the conditions are tough. So, but that's, I can't make that. They live there, they deal with it, and that's something for the committees to decide how they want to handle that. It
Yeah,
shouldn't
yeah.
be, it shouldn't be, it never should be just one person making that call, because again, this had nothing to do with Paul's individual race. He was just a coordinator of trying to hold on to a tradition. So, none of this falls on him. He's just given the ball and running with it. So,
Yeah, it's just hard when I don't know. Let me ask you, the people that were there that were participating, the not the professional like yourself, how are they taking it?
Um, I guess this race, like you said, it's been challenging for I don't know how many years now. Just getting the pigeons to the race has always been difficult. So here's a handler now that gets the birds to the race, and then the race turns out to be what it is. Um, but again, that's up to the committee, really, the organization to decide. They do something. This Texas Center was kind of similar to the AU, something that fall back on and keep organizations and clubs together. And that in the end is really what it's all about. Let alone you got the ladies auxiliary trying to make donations for scholarships for kids, and so it's all positive.
Mm. Yeah, well, I'm thinking it's out. Okay, we see the positive. The negative part is that temperature, and those birds seem to be topping out. I just think, right? Maybe this is just an idea. Maybe they should try in the week that it runs or the few days it runs, 3 races of 100 miles, base it on an average speed where the pigeons can do the heat, where they
Yeah,
can beat
well,
it.
that's a great idea. So that's something that they're going to have to, that or you got to show up in a chicken outfit or pigeon outfit again, and that might work.
Hey, if there's one thing I'd love to do, I'd love to play on in that temperature on that race. I'd love it. It would be to me. I love it. That's gonna one day I'm gonna go do that. I'm gonna move to Texas just to fly back because you know what? I think it can be done. But anyways, enough of that. I'm glad you had a good trip. You enjoyed it. You did some marketing. You met some people. You met a lot of new people. I'm sure. Was the food good?
Food was good. Well, food was a little different than what we normally have had, but it was good. So
Excellent. Question here: how many times will you vaccinate your youngsters, John? How many times do you think you need to vaccinate?
I usually just for PMV, I just hit them once.
Yeah.
Pox once. There's controversy all this. In fact, that's something that I did, had a big discussion with Ed Minville. Ed Minville is the owner of Seagulls, and we talked about the different vaccines and everything that I think I shared way back my thoughts. We're just in a world now where vaccines are limited, and some guys are bootlegging their vaccines, and some of these vaccines are not compatible with vaccines that are given. And I think that's across the board. And so I was hoping that Ed would do a write up to give a lot of people a little insight on what we need to do to all be on the same page. Even myself, I got to find a you know it's one of those things that here I take a couple thousand pigeons in. Do you wait 12 weeks before you vaccinate? I mean, or do you just hit them on the beginning? And what it is that there's pigeons that are going to make it, no problems. There are just some pigeons, because of the vaccine they had, they die. And there's new vaccines that will eliminate pigeons that are carriers. So there's a lot of things that people need to really educate themselves on.
Basically, what you've just said is for you, there's no right way. For the guy in the UK, if you watch the video we did with Chris DeBecker, one of my first sit down videos, he tells you how many times he vaccinates. He vaccinate 5, 6 times with different vaccines, PNV, Rota, Pox. You can go through it and take a look. Again, it's sort of what you want. Everyone is different. But John, as you say, from where you are, if you've got 500 lofts sending you birds, you don't have ever the right time. You
No, and,
know,
and I mean, I've always, I mean, that's basically where I've always stood, is that I can't allow for something to go wrong. If I have those 10% of breeders that have a different protocol, what they do at home, I can't be responsible for that. I have to do what I know is going to not have a problem. Again, like there was people that had comments, oh, the losses are heavy. No, I have no sickness in my loft. It's pigeons that come in that cannot handle vaccines, that within 5 days or a week and a half, they just don't make it. And that's where we're at. And that's where Ed, made comment that even like this RP, if pigeons are carriers, uh, sometimes they just don't make it. They don't make it on the vaccine.
Yeah.
So,
What do you? I mean, what do you do? What are you
well,
supposed to
that's
do?
well, that's where you talk about the discussion. That's where this kind of, we're enlightening people to say, hey, check it out. Maybe I don't have all the answers. Maybe Ryan doesn't have all the answers, but maybe you need to do research on your own and make sure what race you're going to participate in, what's their protocol, how do they go about vaccinating. Some races don't vaccinate at all. They don't believe in it. But that's, to me, is Russian roulette. I'm not there to do that. We all know that pigeons can be susceptible to rota, can be susceptible to PMV. Well, as a one-off race manager, it's just like pox. I don't, there's times where pox are bad in San Diego. Sometimes you don't see it. It's not like Florida or Texas where they do have outbreaks and they have to deal with it. But some races, they get away with it. And keep in mind, there's races that fly different times of the year where, they're not going to have a problem in January when it's, 30 degrees with pox. Very seldom. But these races that are flying in the summertime or where it's warm, yeah, it could be a problem.
Hey, we got a Chad Ward says hello, and aloha guys. How the birds going? How's the molt coming along? Question on the molts. Yeah, what are your birds up to now? 'Cause it's been 3 weeks, so they
They're
changed
getting
again.
they're getting way better. I mean, we just started flagging. My birds, 8, 9, and 10. I cut 3 flights. 99% of them are full grown. They're just now. Some of them are into the middle of their body molt. Some of them are starting to finish up, but very few. But no, everything's moving along pretty good. It's always interesting. Every year, it's always the same. There's always a percentage of pigeons that they just don't have it, and there's always a percentage of pigeons that they're just flying. They're just sky high, and that's just how it goes. Not to say that that's always a good thing, because there's been, as we all know, there's guys, those that have raced, guys have had pigeons, right? Oh, they're flying 2 hours, but then come race day, they're nowhere to be found. So, it's all relevant.
Yeah, yeah, you see it. I mean, a lot of people uh, they don't understand it, but you know, it's something. There's some birds they just naturally want to fly, and there's birds that naturally are just lazy and they don't have it in them. Most of the time, those turn out to be the duds, anyways. But the basket fixes that problem, anyways. So you're starting to flag them now, and what they're going out pretty much every day, and
They go out
and the
every day.
and the routine, what you when you get them out and flag them, what is it? Just flag them and then leave them out for a bit, or you get them up multiple times? What's when you first start flagging them? What's sort of what you do?
Um, well, I'm in that initial phase now where I broom them up. I give them usually like 15 minutes, 20 minutes of just acclimating themselves, coming out of the loft. They're playing around, and then I broom them up. I stop. 15, 20 minutes later, I broom them up again. Uh, I would say by the third day, when they see me with my pole, then they know what's expected of them. And so far this year, everything, trapping and all that has been really good. Sometimes you always get those pesky those pigeons that don't like to follow directions, but I think overall it's been pretty good.
And between the Royal Cup, uh, any difference in the molt, or everything both the same in the molts there?
Everything's the same.
Okay.
Now, mind you, I had pigeons that came in late. I did go ahead and pull just the ninth, sometimes the 10th. Those pigeons are still a little bit in the development stage. Those are pigeons that came in, middle of June. So you're only talking, they're still on the younger side. And I'm not a big fan of doing that, but hey, I've had people disappointed because their birds weren't flights weren't pulled, and so hey, I just make it a point to do it, win or lose. The flights get pulled, and then we go with it. So
I think that's fair because you're always going to be on the chopping block, John. Um, actually, this is I was something that we were thinking today. We were talking about it in the office, but Triple Eight says, "Do you guys think a sprint raced one loft would work? Something like 20 races, 100 to 150 miles or so. Has anyone ever tried it? I think it would be great to do a 20 or 30 race series of maybe 100 to 100 and maybe 25 miles or 150 miles. You could do twice a week. I think it would be great. I don't know if it. I don't know if the people would like it. I don't know. What do you think, John?
I think it'd be a hard sell because any of these guys that have any experience at all, they just put them on the light system, or most likely put them on the dark system, and you just get these huge drops. So it would just, you could have a fantastic pigeon, and he's number 100, 150 in the clock 3 times in a row. So it's to me, yes, it's a great concept. I think if you did it as a multiple loft race, it'd be, but again, then it's up to your handler. One guy knows a little bit more than the other handler, and again, who is the better pigeon? I mean, it's I just think that there's just too many hiccups with that.
Yeah, and I think if it were to be done, you'd almost have to do it like every other day or every third day to really, and you have to do enough of them to not punish, but to get a difference. If you go once a week for 20 weeks, you're going to get big drops. But it would be fun. I think it'd be interesting to see if someone does it. But again, I find the ignorance of people that wouldn't see the value in it. But meanwhile, they'll go out and buy kittles, best kittles, right? They go
Well,
out and
but you
they
know
buy
what?
those birds.
If I'm not mistaken, Dubai does that. They're flying in the heat, and they've flown races that are like that, that are specialized 75 miles, 100 miles. And they had some big participation. And again, they're dealing with warmer conditions. And so they want those birds home in, 2.5, 3 hours tops.
Yeah.
Now,
Uh,
if it was a challenge, now let's say like the islands, you go to Hawaii where they're flying island to island. Well, that would be interesting
yeah.
because
It's
over there,
somewhere. Hey, listen, somewhere it's good. Somewhere it will work. I mean, even, hey, we just talked about it. Maybe it's the Texas Center, 5 days of 100-mile racing. I'm just, you know what I mean? I think it can work. You got to be in the right place where there's a nice little challenging course. And yeah, I don't know.
well, there's no doubt. I mean, Texas would be great to do it because these races. What's interesting is, I mean, we could say tough, 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 but hey, you got to still hand it to the pigeons that are home in time. I mean, in the
Yeah.
end, that's what it's all about, right? You're just testing the birds under certain conditions, and yeah, you're going to have your haters, but guess what? I mean, you're looking for the pigeon that has that extra oomph.
Yeah, and I mean, again, if you do a 20 or 25 race, 100, I'm just saying 100-mile race series or 125, you'll see after 25 races and you base some average speed there, there are going to be those birds that are bang right on all the time. And again, it's down to seconds. Playing in Belgium, literally, will race to seconds. It's like seconds. It's so deadly, but it becomes so fun because it's different. But yeah, I don't know. I'm for it. Triple Eight. I think it's a good idea. If someone wants to try it, go ahead. But you're gonna have to sell it good. You're gonna have to be a good salesman, eh, John?
Yeah, you're going to have to wear that white shirt and the white cap and the white tennis shoes,
Oh,
right?
Jesus. Yeah, you know who would have done a good job on this one? Ron. Ron Steinbrenner would have
Hey,
done
well,
it.
you think about it, his Triple Crown, that they were, shit. He set speed records, man, with the 100 and the 200.
Yeah, he did. Records. Yeah, that's right. He set records. So okay, so now With your birds, you got them out. You're starting to flag them or broom them, whatever. Uh, are you going to start? When do you start getting them in the truck? Just letting them get used to it, or have you even started that already?
I already started practicing, and they've been going through the chute for the last week. Next week, I'll start loading them up in the trailer, and that I start out slow anyways with the training, and it's just basically getting them used to the whole routine, and hopefully giving some of these palooka, these late ones, these duds, giving them an opportunity to figure it out. Um, and that's something that I've always done. So it's just a question of this heat. Even here in San Diego, it's getting we're going to be in the three digits this weekend, and how long will that sustain? If we go 50 miles to the east of me, I mean, shit, 115, 118. I mean, it's brutal.
Jeez.
So I'm in no hurry really to push, but I like to stay myself. I mean, a lot of the guys that technically we're all supposed to start racing in November. I mean, their birds are shut down, and I'm already going. I'm already active, and it's always that's just how that's just how I'm set. My mindset is, and for me, that's like I've mentioned so many times before. The training is I do a lot of short tosses, and it's not so much. Well, it's a waste of time. No, it's basically giving these pigeons to get them acclimated to fly on their own, to fly with the type of terrain. And that's where, it's different for everybody. But for me, I just know what I have to do. So,
Yeah, don't change what's been working for you, John. 100%. I was gonna ask you, how's Steve Miner and Ahmad doing there at the Triple Crown? What have you heard anything from there?
well, Ahmad's really happy with his team, but, he pushed his birds to the very end, and he got caught. I don't want to say with his pants down, but yeah, a couple flyaways, and it was at the tail end. So he was still getting some pigeons up until a week or 2 weeks ago. Pulled flight, so they're probably halfway. But his race series is a lot different than what it was. So he has that time to do that. Um, Again, that's everybody's different. Uh, I think overall he's happy with his team though, and that's the most important.
Yeah, and I mean he's doing. You can't knock guys for trying things and that, but no, no, I know that should turn out good. I know he wants to. I think he's got a lot to prove. He wants to prove. You can
Well,
feel it in him.
oh, well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, face it, the Triple Crown for what it used to be. I mean, he wants to try to change that as best as possible, and I think he's the perfect guy to do that because when Ahmad gets his birds flying well, I mean, it's pretty amazing when you go down to the club and he's got his pigeons just ranging and going for hours. And in fact, he did this with this last group of babies, and unfortunately, he lost pigeons. Nobody's fault. It's just Mother Nature.
Yeah,
You get a falcon that comes in, and 40, 50 birds, they're gone. I know. It happens to me too. So it's just part of the game.
yeah. It's funny. They humble you real quick, don't they?
Oh
And
yeah. Well,
you're
that's just
you're
it.
you're
You
feeling
can't.
great all week, and then Friday evening or Thursday evening. Oh, yeah, I dropped 50 in one go. Oh, you were great all week. You were feeling great. You poured yourself a double and took the wife and kids out for dinner, and yeah, we're doing good. No shit, Friday was a different day. Wipeout.
Yeah.
um, I don't know. People might want to ask, or people are a bit quiet tonight. They're a little bit shy. Sometimes this happens. Any type of medication you're giving the birds at this point? You treating them for anything, or just
I did. I put him through a cranker treatment about 2.5 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and then I just recently put him through a respiratory treatment about a week and a half ago, and now they're back on just probiotics and vitamins, and I'm actually going to hit them again for cocci and canker again sometime after it's warm, after the heat goes away, because I just don't want them to overdrink.
Okay. But other than that, no problems. And you found what okay, so on your intake, because it's over and done with, your biggest issue that you noticed was what? Birds coming in that had certain vaccinations that literally just couldn't handle it within a few days. That was your biggest
Yeah, that was the
hurdle?
biggest thing this year. That was the biggest. I mean, it's typical. You run into mycoplasma, which is the one-eyed coals. I mean, that always happens late May, first, second week of June. Occasionally, you get a bird here, you get a bird there. Occasionally, now we still get a bird that, for whatever reason, maybe picks something in the yard that will go downhill. We still run into problems where some pigeons, just by loft line every day, putting them on a program, they can't handle it. I mean, they break down, and we haven't even started yet. And those are all things that once we start training, even just the fact of I'll hit them at 5 miles, 10 miles, many many times, in the process of loading them up and going down the road. It's a lot of stress, and it's just part of the
100%.
game.
And that's the thing. People they never understand it. And they think, oh, well, what are you talking about? It's 5 miles. Yeah, you everything you have to do. They got to go on that transporter with a few thousand pigeons. There's a process, and again, they have to live in the jungle. They have to stay strong, and
That's right.
constantly they're the one loft race is a constant fight, and I think people dismiss it very easily. But you know what? You
Well, I
understand it.
mean, like I said, I've been doing this for a few years, and if you watch even the guys that are top dogs that race, and I'm talking race old birds or race young birds, there's always hiccups. Always hiccups, and that's what makes it. That's what always makes it challenging. You're always hoping to do better. You're hoping to improve. I see. I've seen breeders in the last 2 years, 3 years that have just gotten better. And when I mean better, they put big numbers in the race and they only lose one or two pigeons. I mean, that's phenomenal from what it used to be. So, you look at someone like myself where, you're taking in a big number of pigeons and some guys are down 50% and other guys are down one or two birds. Well, that doesn't fall back on me. That falls back on your breeding program to see. And Steinbrenner said it years ago that hey, it starts when the birds are sent right from the get go. Like Ron flew with small lofts, and that was part of it. The one loft race, the birds had to they had to who had the stronger immunity to survive just in the beginning.
Yeah, and I always kind of think this, which is a little bit of a letdown. Um, I always say if you can make it to the final race and you can finish, congratulations, because you had to go up the mountain the whole way. The thing that is a bit of a, I mean, I'm going to say a little bit of a letdown is the race starts the day you put them in that box and send them, and you get them, John, and you start. That's when they start. So there's birds that have started in April at your loft, and then there's birds that started in June at your loft. Okay. In reality, hey guys playing these races, all the money, all the prize money, the activation, everything come up front. You're going to the casino. Play it. The everyone wants big prizes. The prize money go up, go up, go up. And I do think birds it starts right at the beginning. You gotta beat all that shit. You know?
Yeah. Well, and like I said, it's I think we have so many one-off races now throughout the country that some of it's environment and like right now those boys in Texas, I mean they have a brutal 100-degree weather and humidity up. And same with Florida. It's that alone is challenging and there's no way around it. And sometimes these people think that you're getting in, take Florida Derby, you're coming in. I mean, their intake starts in March, late February, March, and you think you got an advantage. Well, you really don't, because the pigeons are just going to be sitting there. They're not going to be going out. They're not going to be exercised for 4 or 5 months. Whereas, what we've come to find is that these young pigeons, it's better to start working them as soon as you can. But it's a balance, because when these pigeons, even for me, they come in late. I start early. I don't know. People sometimes are a little naive, not understanding how I compare versus so many others, that I start early with training. Again, my birds are ready to start down the road. Other guys are just, their flights are just a quarter of the way in. And yet we're going to be racing the same time. They can move their birds out to 100 miles in 10 tosses. Shit, 10 tosses for me is 5 miles. I mean,
Yeah,
that's just the reality. And I mean, and I'm careful like that, because if I'm not, I mean, I get pigeons that'll fly, they'll fly a 200-mile toss on their third or fourth toss, because they get turned around flying through, valleys and stuff.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, guys, when you see the training video that we've put together, me and John, we drive the course. We show you the spots for. I think it's first 20 or 30 miles. 30. I think we went to 30 miles. Didn't that? Where did we go? How far did we go? I can't remember. Was it?
Yeah, it was like 20 some miles the first
It
the
was
first
it was
time.
about an hour's worth of driving, and I couldn't. But like, I mean, holy shit, man! I feel bad for his truck and his trailer. I mean, all it is
Yeah.
windy roads and ups and downs, and it's true. You can't do it, and if you decide to, John decides to play lazy and say, "Oh, forget this,
It
we're
won't
going to do
work.
it in 10 tosses." He'll do it. He'll get birds come home, but he won't have 2,000. He'll have about 300. Then
Yeah.
everyone's going to lose their mind and go, John's lost it. He's doing terrible. No, he reads the play. And this is when, again, I say, guys, he reads the play. He's understanding it. He takes the time. A lot of lofts, they don't have this problem. They don't live, it's not a problem, but it makes him a better pigeon, man. And I say, John, one day you're going to leave San Diego and you're going to find somewhere where it's just a straight road, man.
Nah, I don't know. I mean, like I said, like I said in day one when we started this, Ryan, I mean, the accomplishments with the breeders, that's, to me, that's what it's all about. And just like I mentioned before, I mean, how long I run with it, I don't know. I mean, we'll see until we get a new batch of young guys who are eager to get their pigeons tested. And, nobody wants to see their losses. Nobody. But the facts are, hey, the course will weed them out. And those people that have the super record that from the race, we're not talking just one race, two races. We're talking a couple, 2 decades, 2.5 decades of doing this shit. And man, if I look back and you see the accomplishments on what these people have done, not just in the States, not just in California, we're talking, global again. I mean, yeah, I'm proud of that, because that's something that cannot be bought. I had a friend talking out of Colorado today. His name's Hendrick. And, we're talking about pigeons. You take David Klossing again. In fact, David Klossing, he just had Big Andy's. He won Best Pigeon at Big Andy's a few months back. Well, it was a sibling to the bird that was champion bird over with me. And out of the same pair. And you're that confident because he only put in 5 pigeons in the race. And to have those results with a few thousand pigeons, again, it's a testimonial that speaks for itself. The course speaks for itself. But we're in a world, just like you said, people get blindsided. Got to have the kittle birds. Man, you just need good birds, and that's the challenge of pigeon racing. It's not easy. You take, the GHC is going to have an auction here for their fund in a couple months. Young pigeons, a lot of good pigeons from a lot of good handlers. Pigeons, guys that really race. My friend John Stevens, one of them. He asked me, he's got some pigeons. I said, I'll be throwing bids on a couple of your birds. Why? Here's a guy that's been racing for 50 years nonstop, moved to Florida to be competitive. And he's one of the top dogs now flying over there. He's shown his colors on what the sport means to him. But yet, if he goes puts his pigeons on iPigeon, they're going to sell for $300. Why? Because he's not playing the game of marketing and blowing that smoke up everyone's ass. He's the real deal, and people are blindsided by, again, they're buying pigeons from guys that don't even know how to handle pigeons, and a guy that's been in the sport forever, like I said, he could put his pigeons up and they don't sell. So I don't know. I mean, I think the old timers in Belgium and Holland, they recognize this, the marketing part of the sport. It's become so commercial that people have become naive,
Yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 hey. Yeah,
right?
yeah, you got to market, properly, but you got to have, a lot of guys I see they market and they're not marketing results. They're not marketing. It's so funny. You'll see a guy that has great pigeons that doesn't market, and he struggles to sell. Then you see a guy that has piss poor pigeons, but he's marketing and he's selling them, and I'm going. Oh man, like it's just funny how it is. You normally see the guys that are really racing good. A lot of them they don't market with a shit, and the guys that can't race, they're marketing and they're selling for more money. And you gotta again, I always say, watch what you're buying. Really watch. Really look black and white. Look at results, and not one result. Results, 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 results. People they get so excited with a winner. See consistency.
Well, I
Question here.
think
Hmm?
this aspect of the sport has been around for generations. The difference is now with social media, and of course, with the internet, and especially now with Win Companion, guys can blow this shit up. And it's just like going back to the guys in the United States, looking at guys out of Belgium or Holland. Shit, 20,000 birds, 40,000 birds, but not realizing guys have great airlines over there too that can dominate. I mean, you're living in the honey hole. You're going to dominate.
Yeah, yeah, and the thing is, you see, what they'll say is in Belgium. Okay, they say in the area where we are, it's the most concentrated of the whole country, but it's the most concurrent. The best players are there. Now, if you move to one part, the other side of Belgium, the other side, there's order the flyers, so there's good flyers there. But they always say, take those flyers and drop them here. The birds don't do it. They don't do it because they play with the wind. But right in the center, in the area, in the Antwerp area, it's deadly. You can be in the honey hole all you want, but there are guys. It's unbelievable. The quality of the flyers, how good the
Oh,
birds are.
well, yeah. I mean, I'm
And
not going to, I won't
yeah,
deny
yeah,
that. I won't deny that. But what I'm saying is, face it, when you take most of us that are here in the States, we're naive to who is the top dog over there. And vice versa. It's across the globe. Even we take these guys out of Kuwait. I mean, face it, 99% of us can't read or write. You know, maybe Chinese, maybe Arabic, maybe Hispanic, Spanish.
yeah.
That's just the facts. And same thing in you take Guadalajara. Uh, they're flying with big numbers, but the facts are there's certain uh, loft or not loft, but race locations that are going to give an
Areas.
advantage to certain people, and
Yeah.
it's I mean it's always been like that. That's part of the sport that's never been absolutely fair.
Uh,
That's where one loft racing comes into effect.
Hey, listen, where we are here, we got in 3 miles, we got three or four clubs, and the wind will be just ever so slightly, and one club on a Wednesday will be loaded up more than the other clubs because all guys are a little bit better set. So you see it all over. I did. Here is a question. 888 says, I feel like the the breast muscles on my young bird team are too dark. I decrease the protein. Any other suggestions, John? What do you think?
Uh, you could put them on apple cider vinegar. You could put them on barley and just clean them out and just purge them a little bit and just, change your feeding up.
Yeah, I suggest even a little bit of baking soda in the water. Watch how much you use. And I'll say, scrap the protein, move on to fats and carbs. And if I'll say anything, push them harder. Push them. Push, 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 push. It's okay. You'll push right through it. But that's my opinion. Anyways, a few different ways to do it. Um, yeah. Michael Peeler says, "Are you using John a double pad clocking? Double
Uh,
pads, John.
the way my antennas work, uh, shit. I mean, they are installed in the trap. They can't, it's like 10 inches across. So they have to, they scan. Unless, of course, occasionally they piggyback. But no, I haven't ran into the problems where, especially race day training, things can happen. But with race day, no, they've always hit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're okay, and you have enough pads there anyway. So, and you're using the benzing. It picks it up pretty darn good. I don't know. I think well, hey, before you had benzing, what were you using?
I've always used benzene.
Shit.
I used benzene when benzene was first coming out with the one off race program, and we were using DOS. I mean, that's these young guys. You go, what the hell is DOS? And I would have to clock,
Hmm.
save it, and then upload into benzene. Yeah, it was a process.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I kind of wondered. Well, I wonder what you were using because I know, like for instance, if you use the Unicon clocks, it doesn't pick up the milliseconds, so you get a bunch of birds that would all tie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Well,
but
and again, this was done. You know, benzene. The benzene OLR wasn't even didn't even exist. Wind Companion, they came around, I think, 08, 09, and that changed the world of one loft racing. And, that was Terry Gilmore. And, I mean, what that man has done for the sport, people don't, it started already in the mid 80s with, him being part of, being race secretary. And of course, there's people that got upset because something went wrong with the scan of the pigeons, but he himself, putting the effort and thinking through to give us what we have today with, Wind Companion. Even to this day, I mean, I know there's some guys that get upset they can't, get in touch base with them. Oh shit, Terry's 82 years old now, and he's still doing this because he has a love for the sport. And you got your hats off to him, because all you son of a bitches that are profiting off this doing one off races, you could thank him. Because yeah, I've been a racer, a handler, but if it wasn't for his efforts, we wouldn't have this.
yeah, I mean, he set it up. I guess he was sort of the, I guess you could almost say the first one loft channel, a channel like for
Yeah.
races, all different races to come on. And it's a big job, it's a thankless job, and I know one thing: he had to work with a lot of idiots that knew nothing about computers, me being one of them. And how many times did he help you out? And I don't know how to do this, how do you do this, and he'd show you. And yeah, it was a little bit of a
Well,
thankless
it,
job.
it even, I mean, again, it started back uh, when benzene first came to the FEC, and they were able to make a deal, and they supplied the club with the benzene clocks, and truly phenomenal. I mean, to where before, right, it used to be pull the counter mark off, which was also enjoyable and exciting. And for those of you that weren't aware, with the FEC back in the day, pooling was big, and the top guys, Ed Lorenz, Pete Lorenz, Danny Hines, Ed for sure. Pigeons come in, and no, number 5, number 8, number 10, band numbers, they go in the clock first because they were in the big pools. Well, when the benzene program or the benzene clock came, they didn't have that opportunity anymore, because if a 5 bird drop came, the birds just scanned the way they were, and it revolutionized what we're doing today.
Yeah. Austin says, "What accomplishments do you require for a pigeon to go to the breeding loft? Race winners, champion pigeons, and so on." John, I'll let you take this. What do you think? I probably have different views, and guys, everyone has their own opinion, which is okay. So what John says or what I say, if you're thinking something completely different, you can go with it too. It's okay. Many roads to Rome. John, what are you thinking on this one?
I think you really need to find, what the pigeon went through in the racing, depending even on the race, the loft that was raced. And then when you receive the bird, does the bird still hold accountable what you're looking for in a breeder? Because you could have pigeons that are ace pigeons and they could breed you nothing. Um, it's it's so hard for any of us to say, this is going to be a superstar or not. Of course, that's where you always go by the basket. But I think that what I've seen over time, I mean, foundation breeders are still pigeons that they have all the tools. So you have to just keep that in mind when you receive birds back from a race that what's the, how a pigeon at 6 months, 8 months, it's really hard to determine, is it going to be a superstar, because they'll still change after that race season. You wait a year, it'll be a whole different pigeon again. So, there's a lot of factors to consider. But when you get you fly any of these races where there's huge losses, for that pigeon to survive, it obviously has something that other pigeons don't have. Like, for example, we're talking about this Texas center where, hey, he did a great job, didn't lose many birds, but at the end, Mother Nature came in and a lot of birds are still missing. But the ones that made it, you got to give them credit because they made it home. They might not have won, they'll still have their day, but to me, those are still things that you still need to consider.
Yeah, and I'll say, and I will say this now, playing in Belgium, and I've played in Canada, it's very hard for the North American people to be able to truly judge. Because you don't have the amount of races to really get that pigeon out there. Guys, if you're only, I'll say if I'm racing in a one off race, and I'm going to use John's race as an example. Okay, it's a good, tough race. One thing I enjoy the amount of training. Now, I know until he gets to 50 miles, they're going to be broken up in groups and whatever he does. Okay, I am going to be focusing on every time he does a group release. And I want to look, I want to see where they're scoring, and I'd be studying right from there again and getting to the finals. I don't think it's very hard to judge on three races. Very hard to judge in a combine on a 7 or 8 race season. It's very, very hard. Hard. Not easy. I mean, we've played here in Belgium. I'm on my 10th race. By the time the season's over, I'll have 35 races in. Okay? You can judge. You start to judge. You push them through the season. And it's interesting to see uh, how hard it is for people that don't have the opportunity to really judge them. And a lot of John, I think a lot of mistakes, eh? Because what do you pick?
There's a lot of mistakes, but you got to remember that one-off racing, you are limited with time. I mean, nowadays guys are they're pushing races back. But if races are going to fly within their time frame, regardless if the birds had 20 tosses or 80 tosses, of course the birds are shortchanged when you're done with the tosses. But the special pigeons need to come, and that's again, like in my neck of the woods. I mean, we do a big jump on the birds. It does a lot of separation, but that's the way we've always raced, and we don't change. We can't deviate from that. That's just always been the norm. And for us, for myself, I mean, if good pigeons have come evolved from that, well, that separates me from 99% of the races that are out there. Because how else are you going to, what are you going to determine what are the better pigeons? The pigeons that come home are the better pigeons. And
Yeah.
when the losses are high, well, there you go. That's your answer, because they're all good pigeons. It's just like going back to old birds when you fly a 600, right? Why is the 600? I mean, some guys will say, "Oh, that's a throwaway race." No, it's not. And that's where a lot of pigeons were. That's where people are really finding their
J-
good pigeons.
John, do you know people who say exactly what you just said?
Oh, 100%.
Those are the people, I hate to say it, they shouldn't have pigeons. They shouldn't be a part of it. They have no respect for it. They have no
No,
respect of how to prepare pigeons, how to set up pigeons, and how to have the pigeons that have it inside of them to do it. And they say, oh, I'm not, these birds here, they're no good in the sprints and in the middle. I just dump them in there and they're gone. Uh, I just, exactly what you, that burns my ass. But hey, that's pigeon man.
well, I mean, a 600 that is pushing the birds for us, at least in our neck of the woods. A 500 though, it's doable. 9, 10 hours, 11 hours on the wing. You still got a window of 2.5 hours of daylight. So, that's for us here in California. And no, those are exciting races. But you figure how many pigeons started young birds, old birds, to get for pigeons that are left to go to that 500. Thousands, hundreds to thousands of pigeons in your organization. So, and then for someone to come back and say, well, it didn't mean shit. Well, that's not true.
Yeah, I had a friend, Dean Powlett. He said to me, I'll tell you something. He said, you raise yourself 100 youngsters. And after 4 seasons of racing with those 100 youngsters,
Yeah. How many you got left?
you're going to have six left. And he says, I'll promise you this. Almost 75% of them will breed you damn good pigeons. If
Yeah.
you play them, and they're not pigeons that came back 6 months late. Pigeons, pigeons, pigeons. And it's the basket helping you out. But you're right. Take a look at how many pigeons are, yeah, look at how many pigeons are bred and how many pigeons make it to that. Not many.
No.
John, I think this is what you got to do. You got to have a 600 mile.
Hey, no, those other guys, other races are doing it. But my
You don't
neck of
have
the
the
woods is
you don't have the time.
no, yeah. As far as daylight, you don't have the daylight to do it.
Hmm.
You know, it's a lot
Yeah.
of people don't realize. I mean, to do it right, there's a lot of preparation. And it's a prestige to fly those distance races. You got to have the team. I mean, you still got to have the bird to win it. And just like you said, what percentage of pigeons are left for that?
And the other thing is too, you can train and you can do what you want and feed how you want. At the end of the day, when you get those 500 and 600 mile pigeons, there's something not right with them to be able to do it because it's more than everything you've done. They still have to have, wow, it to do it. You know, they got to have something that little extra inside of them. It is kind of sad, John, because think about it. Within the next 10 years or so, there'll probably be, in North America, I don't think any 600 mile racing. Very, very little in the club
Very,
levels.
very, very few, very few.
Yeah.
It's just yeah. In a lot of ways, we're getting a little soft. That's just kind of how what's happening to the sport in our part of the country. It's not like that over in Mexico.
No,
They
no.
race. But
Yeah, same with same with Poland,
in our
and
neck of the woods, absolutely. That's just like us not winning the World Cup. We're a little soft.
I had to go through Belgium. I mean, shit, all you had to do. I thought America could have beat Belgium, but I don't know what happened that day. That
Yeah.
was a rough one. That was a
Yeah.
rough
Did you
one.
lose? So you lost your bet?
I won. I won one bet. I lost another bet. In the end, we ended up having a few extra beers, and it was easy, even. But you know what? It was fun. I couldn't believe it because the Belgians. I think the Belgians were playing at 4 o'clock in the morning. Was it the U.S.? I think
Yeah. Yeah.
in Belgium, and the street was partying at 4 o'clock in the morning. The bars were open, and people were I'm going. This is unbelievable. Like
Yeah.
just for soccer, but. You know what? America will win it eventually. They'll get there.
Oh, 100%. I mean, yeah. They're just gonna have to change their structure, their way of thinking. I mean, there's no reason why they can't do it. The resources are here.
Yeah,
So
and the numbers,
yeah,
and all, you know what, and all the culture from the world, eh? A lot of different culture.
that's what makes it so special. Yeah,
Yeah, you
it
know,
was truly something.
I think and I say to myself, man, look at the World Cup, the last two World Cups, no Italy. No Italy. What's
Yeah.
going on? There's Canada here. I mean, come on. There's no Italy. But soccer's for another day. So this week coming on, next week we're gonna have some videos with what you're doing. Is we're back in the swing of things. We're gonna be on. You like this time? Is this
Yeah,
time good for you? All
this is
right.
a better time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a better time for me too, just being here in Canada. We're gonna do that. Anything else you wanted to say, John, before we wrap it up? And we'll keep it short tonight. I had a hell of a long day. Anything else you wanted to say?
No, it's good, dude. Everything's cool. Everything's good over here. Hopefully for the rest of the country, it cools down a little bit, and we'll see what Mother Nature has for all of us to bring. I mean, it's just been getting uglier and uglier pigeon racing with what for what we're dealing with, and it's but that's evolution. That's where we're at.
Yeah, well, hey, you're doing a good job. Keep it going, guys. Follow us along. I've got to figure out in the next couple of weeks when I'm going to go down and visit John, say hi, do some filming. We want to let him get started with the training, and then I'm going to come down and we'll do some training with John. We're gonna we're gonna be live with him for like a whole week, so you guys are gonna really get your fill, which will be good. And yeah, I guess stay safe, stay cool. And we'll do this again next Wednesday, John.
Right on, bud. Okay, have a great weekend.
Hey, you two, be safe. And guys, that's John Timmerman. I'm Ryan from Feathers Elite Racing Pigeon Network. Like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for flying with us, guys. You have a great evening. Bye for
Thank
now.
you. Bye.